The UN, along with Israel, the US, and the majority of other international supporters, along with a percentage of Palestinians, believe that the only solution to what's going on in Israel is a two-state solution, to create two states, one to be for the Palestinians in Palestine and one to be for the Israelis in Israel. I believe that that is probably a really good idea and is going to be the only thing that's going to work. But the problem with that is that before there can be a two-state solution, Palestine needs to unify itself into one state. Right now, there are two different political groups in Palestine that are just constantly fighting each other and fighting Israel to to better Palestine. The problem is that they don't really agree on anything at all. Those two groups are Fatah and Hamas, okay? And Hamas is seen by the World Organization as a terrorist organization. It is illegal to give them any type of funding or anything like that. They do a lot of horrible things. They have sworn that the only way to deal with Israel is to just eliminate it completely. Whereas Fatah believes more in the two-state solution and is a little bit more not as extreme as Hamas, yet they still do things, they do bombings to Israel and things like that, but that's nothing that Israel doesn't do back to them. So the battle of Fatah versus Hamas comes down to more of like nationalism versus Islamicism, whereas Hamas is for Islamicism and Fatah is for the nationalism. Fatah is a sanction of the PLO, and they were recognized by the Palestinian Liberation Organization. And ever since they were first developed in 1959 by Yasser Arafat, they have been in mass control of Palestine and what happens. The people of Palestine have been looking to them for everything and that sort of thing. And then on January 25th in 2006, a really big thing happened where Hamas took actually major control of the Palestinian parliament, where they got most of the seats and most of the things. So it's just been really, really, really extreme since then, and they've just been fighting even harder than that. Both of the groups, all of their members, they are just, die-hard believers in their causes. And, it's really kind of a sad thing because, they both want a Palestine, right? So why can't they just unite and make their own Palestine and work together, instead of just Hamas and Fatah, fighting against Israel and fighting against each other? They should just, concentrate their efforts onto what they really want. Fatah has been quoted in saying that they view Hamas as a bigger enemy or threat than they do Israel. So, that kind of makes a little problem in the whole argument thing. There have been a lot of questions as to why Hamas was finally able to take control of the Palestinian parliament, and overthrow some of those seats and get more of their voices in there. And the reasons that I believe is because of the mass corruption that has been seen in Fatah and the fact that they just haven't, really been stepping up to what the Palestinians wanted. And if they just worked together, then they could unite their cause and maybe, have some peace talks with Israel and finally get something figured out in there instead of just, I think there's been around 230 to 250 meetings that they've had so far where, they've all agreed, okay, a two-state solution is the right idea and the right place to go. But nothing other than that has really happened, and it's just it's a little bit ridiculous. And, Fatah and Hamas really need to get their shit together. Otherwise, there's always the chance of a civil war, especially when Hamas, had the invasion of Gaza a couple years back. That was a little scary for the Palestinians and the Israelis, alike. It's a tough thing, especially nowadays. They really just need to unite and form one force, and then they'll be better heard. Because when you have a small amount of people like that, they're already a minority. The Palestinians are already seen as a minority. Israel's already doing crazy shit to them all the time. And then you divide that in half, so to speak, it's a lot harder for them to accomplish anything because of that. So, you can watch this video and then you can continue on with your life and have it not affect you at all, and just not even think about it ever again. Or you can watch this video and you can, start to think that maybe, what would you do if you were kicked out of your homeland? If the place that you thought that you lived, that your ancestors had been in forever, you were all of a sudden kicked out and placed in a refugee camp for 50 years, you know, because it's the Jewish right to be there, you know. You can think about what it's like, you know. I'm not saying that the Jews don't have a right to be there, because, you know, they do, and they can share it and stuff like that, but just the fact that Israel, you know, but national awareness for Israel really needs to be brought up, and like America is a very, very, very strong ally for Israel. You know, we do pretty much anything for them, but, you know, we need to start giving a little bit more attention to the Palestinians, and we need to help, you know, bring awareness to what's going on there, and maybe help to unify Palestine and then create a two-state solution. Alright, so now it's time for you to get off your ass, get off YouTube, and go make a fucking difference, because we live in this world too, and everything that happens in it will affect us in some way, shape, or form. So fucking do something. Take a stance, take a cause, and do something about it.